Hello, hello. I'm just trying to connect on my various platforms. If you're watching live, let me know that you're here. I'm going to stream across Instagram, Facebook, wherever else it will let me. So let's just see if it'll let me do it. I'm just seeing if it will let me do it on Instagram. Anyways, good morning, good morning. It's Monday, the 9th of June, 2025. It's been a while since I've been live, like unannounced across various platforms. But I wanted to do this because I've got something to say. Oh my God, she's got something to say. So this is something that has been kind of like, it crops up every now and again. And I want to address it because I think it's really important we talk about this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Heidi Maver. I'm the founder of EOTAS Matters. I work supporting parents and carers of neurodivergent households with the EHCP process, particularly those who have children and young people with barriers to attendance and who need help with accessing education and education otherwise in their school packages. And I've been doing this work for over 5 years. And I do this work because our personal history is that we were one of those families. So we had I had a young person who wasn't able to attend school and who crashed out of school fairly spectacularly. So I wanted to talk a little about something that's been coming up more and more. And I want to frame it so that you understand why I'm saying it. So one of the things that I am really committed to as an advocate, as someone who supports parents and carers, as a neurodivergent adult myself, is that we must be trauma informed. So we must understand the effects that trauma has, not only on our children and young people, but also on ourselves, both myself as an advocate and also parents and carers, the effect that it has on parents and carers. I don't think it's going to let me go live on Instagram, which is a bit annoying, but there we go. And so what that means is that, like, the first rule of trauma-informed approach is generous assumptions, right? So we generously assume that people are doing the best with what they've got, even people within local authorities, but particularly other parents and carers, our children and young people, and those people who are supporting us. So that being said, wherever anything happens within my community, and I feel, because I'm an ADHDer, I feel that I'm being triggered by something, I always try to stop myself and have a moment of, okay, let's be generous in our assumptions, and let's remember that parents and carers are doing the very best with what they can, and that they are probably triggered to heck about this thing. They're overwhelmed, they're burnt out, they're finding it tricky. Okay, so all that being said, what I am seeing increasingly within the parent carer community, and it happens all the time, but it's happening more and more, is, and I don't know how else to describe this beyond saying, a sense of entitlement, for want of a better word, from some parents and carers towards those of us who are working to support you, or who are working to support people in the field, whereby parents and carers join free online communities and then, like, expect certain levels of access, expect certain levels of support from usually volunteer-run groups. And I'll talk about this from my own experience. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I have an online community. We've got almost 15,000 families in there. And we have a team of 15 volunteer admins, all of whom are parent carers in neurodivergent households, all of whom are neurodivergent themselves. And people join the group every single day. And usually about 100 people a week join the group. And between us as a team of admins, we admin moderate that group every day and at weekends. And none of my team are doing it for any other reason that they want to support other parents and carers. And I saw something at the weekend, and it was an amazing person that I follow, Laura Bartlett, and she said, and this really rang a chord with me. She said, never mistake access for ownership. And I wanted to talk about this because particularly in my free community, I see this, right? So people come into the community and remember, generous assumptions, they land and I know that they're like, oh my God, help me. I was that parent. I was very unregulated and I was panicking and I was worried about my kid. And I know that that's how parents often find us, right? So we're going to make some generous assumptions that people are doing the best with what they've got. And I think we have to draw a line at this entitlement that some parents and carers bring to those groups. And I'll give you some examples from the last 48 hours, bearing in mind it's been a weekend. So over the weekend, we've had some comments in my free group, and we've had people calling my admin team shit. Actually, rubbish was the word they used, because they waited 9 hours for a post to be approved. They'd posted at about 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And then on another post in the evening, they complained saying, how long did it take for this post to be approved? I've been waiting 9 hours for mine to be approved. I don't know what the admin team are doing, but they're rubbish. And then the same person posted again on a different thread. I'll see if I can find it. I can't find it because one of my admins sent me a thing saying, can you have a look at this? Saying, this isn't good enough. There's 15 admins in this group. Why does every post have to be approved? I came here for support. This isn't a support group. And like, real talk, this is the kind of shit that advocates have to put up with that means that we stop working. That means that we go, do you know what? This isn't worth it. I do this part of my work, this free community, full disclosure, as a means to drive my engagement and to let people know about my paid for services. And there is zero expectation for people to spend money in my group, right? There are people who are welcome to come in and use all of the free resources and all of the free advice. And I never ask them or expect them to pay for that. And alongside that, I expect a level of generous assumption for myself and for my team whilst we're doing that work, whilst we're doing that unpaid labour as neurodivergent parents and carers. And access does not equate to ownership. And I see this also in my paid work, right? People say often, oh, I've had like, oh, you've written a book now and you've made a ton of money. I mean, hello, you don't make a ton of money from books, but you've written a book now, you've made a ton of money, and now you're only interested in coining it off parents and carers. And, you know, when you're like, where is the generous assumption that I afford to my community members? Where is that? That should be a two-way street. I should be able to do my work, get paid for the paid part of my work that I do without being abused and without people coming to me with entitlement and expectations for me to do things simply because they need things, right? I understand what it's like to be a parent in that situation. I was that parent. I was a pain in the ass. And that's why when I decided to do this work, the first thing I did was let me understand what trauma-informed practice looks like. And part of understanding what trauma-informed practice looks like is talking about that, right? Trauma-informed practice works both ways. I afford you generous assumptions and I expect you to afford me and my team generous assumptions. I really want to encourage people to remember that at the other end of any interaction, there is a human being. And if that is in my community, that is almost certainly a neurodivergent human being. And if that is on a Saturday or a Sunday, just bloody any day of the week with a Y in it, and you are expecting free labor from people, it's not okay to A, expect that, and B, be a dick about it when you don't get it. And this isn't about calling individuals out. This is something I see across the SEND advocacy space. I speak to other advocates fairly regularly, and they tell me how difficult it is as an advocate to self-regulate sufficiently to do your work when you are constantly bombarded from, first of all, people who don't understand our work from outside of our community. So the bullshit ableist horseshit that we get from people saying, you know, you're lazy, these kids aren't disabled. When I was a kid, they just need a bit of discipline. All that we are like a firewall for on behalf of our communities because we put ourselves out publicly. That first level. And then that second level of within our communities, the entitlement and the expectation that we should be doing things because there are people who are struggling and we owe those people something. You know, as advocates, we choose our level of access, we choose our level of engagement, we are allowed to set boundaries, and we are entitled to work without being abused and called a rubbish and getting, abuse from people. It's not okay. And there is just this, I really want people to kind of take what I'm meaning to say here, which is if you find yourself often in a situation where you are asking for help and you're triggered and frustrated and you're quick to anger and you're quick to be defensive, all of those things are true of me, by the way, right? Our job as decent human beings is to think, okay, so this is really triggering the hell out of me. This is why I didn't talk about this yesterday. This is triggering the hell out of me, and I need to kind of sit with it and work out what's going on, how I need to regulate myself, and what I need to do going forward. So what was going on was that I had messages from my admins who were feeling triggered by some people in our free community being downright dickish, right? There's no other way of putting it. I had to think, okay, so what's that about? Well, first of all, the triggering for my admins is that it's the weekend and they feel like they're being attacked and their RSD, their rejection sensitivity, is kicking in. What's going on for that parent is that they're frustrated and they need and want help immediately, and they are expecting that in my free community. What do I need to do about that? I need to take a minute, respond. I'll be honest, boot that person from my community. And then I need to decide what I'm going to do in terms of using this as a learning opportunity for myself and my community and my admins. So what I'm saying is, if you are in any way involved in this community, if you are a parent carer, a parent advocate, a SEN worker, a professional, there's two things. First of all, engage generous assumptions. I know that that parent did not mean to be as rude as they were. I know they didn't. And intention does not reduce impact. I know that action hurt other people in the group, triggered some of my admins and myself, and caused damage. So my response to that is, let's have a conversation about how we turn up in a trauma-informed way from both sides of the conversation. So if you are someone who you are like I was, and you're like that parent was yesterday, where you are so frazzled that you are just in panic mode all the time and you're permanently angry, your anger is valid. It is justified. The system is shite. It's awful. I'm not going to play that down. Being worried about your child or young person is terrible. It's a horrible, horrible place to be. And in the same way that you need and are entitled to compassion from other people, you need and are entitled to compassion from yourself. And part of that is about recognizing when being in those places is actually not helping you, it's triggering you, it's throwing you into conflict or rejection sensitivity or anger or panic or overwhelm or meltdowns or shutdowns. Like, you need to give yourself that self-awareness. You need to take care of yourself in that moment, because you will not be able to absorb what you're learning, and you will not be able to take on the information that is being offered to you and the support that is being offered to you when you're in that place. And this isn't me tone policing. This is me asking you to begin from a place of compassion for yourself and for other people in the community. But first of all, for yourself. The thing that brings families to their knees is not first and foremost the system. Now, the system is fucked. But the thing that brings families to their knees is parents and carers in those family units who are not able to regulate, who are not able to show up in the way they want to show up, who don't have an outlet for that frustration, who don't know how to sit in that discomfort and give themselves permission to feel those things before they engage with other people. And that's really important. You have got to take care of yourself. You have got to be generous in your assumptions with other people, but also with yourself. And you've got to understand that access does not mean ownership, because what happens for a lot of advocates in the space, and I see it over and over, is they end up burnt out because the demands made on them by parents who are in that entitlement energy because they're in crisis drives them into the ground, and they're no longer able to do the work that they do. So we have to take care of each other. And this is my request to you when you're engaging with other parents and carers, be they other parents and carers in the fight or parent carer advocates or parent carer peer support people. Just do what you need to do. Learn what you need to learn about regulation and taking care of your own nervous system so that you are not constantly on the fight and constantly on the attack. Because if in a private, safe space, you're showing up like that, that tells me that in meetings, they're saying it's going to be true. And you won't get the generous assumptions in meetings that you get from within the community. You just won't. So please take care of yourself. Please remember that access does not equal ownership. And please give everybody around you and yourself some compassion and some generous assumptions. And I'm open to a discussion if people have things they want to say about it. All right. I'll see you all later.